Episode 6 is with Michael E. Holden, who is a former 500 executive, high-performance coach, and the best-selling author of The Authenticity Deficit. And I met Michael back in Fiji last year. I was there for a Tony Robbins event, and we talked about the experiences that we learned from that, and obviously his journey leading up to it. But the big thing I took away from that was the leap of faith.
Another thing was taking a leap of faith. I read this book every morning. It's called Jesus Calling. And it's just my motivation. I said, I pull my energy from my faith. Whatever the listeners do, the encouragement is to find out where your energy comes from. You define it, but don't get lost in the fact that I'm talking about my faith. And so I happen to read, I'd wake up at 4 every morning. I would get my own workout, just the calisthenic types of things in, and I'd sit down, I'd pray, and I'd journal. And this particular morning, I read this, and I didn't think anything of it. But it ultimately, this Jesus Calling book is they take Bible quotes, they put it all together, and they write it as if, like Jesus or the divine is writing a note to you specifically for that day. It's really encouraging. And this particular note said, it's easy for you to illustrate faith in the little things. What about having faith for the big things? What about when I ask you to jump off a cliff into an abyss of the unknown?
Now, physically, we actually did a leap of faith in Fiji, and we climbed up this big telegraph pole, and well, obviously, harness and everything. But then we had to jump off this telegraph pole, very high in the air. Can't remember how high. But then we had to aim for this trapezius, where we had to try and grab the bar. And that's a real physical leap of faith. I am not great with heights, so being so uncomfortable in that situation to climb up this pole, even though my legs are shaking a bit, I'm solely focused on this goal to leap off. But then how we can transfer what we learned, how can we apply that into other areas in our life? Taking that leap of faith to start a YouTube channel, for example. Going out there to show my face. Who the hell's going to listen to me? This is kind of the questions that pop up for me when I was going on camera the first time. When I started a fitness Instagram account, I'm like, come on, who's going to seriously take my advice? In those kind of times, you have this calling, and this is the metaphor of the leap of faith we're talking about. And fulfilling your calling is trying to fulfill our sort of 3 needs that we have that work for our body, for the mind, and for the spirit. And when we have one of those out of alignment in our life, then things start to slip through the cracks. Maybe we're not working out as much. Maybe we're eating not very well. We're having takeout. If it's the mind, maybe we're not sleeping enough. Maybe we're not having that recovery meeting. Maybe we're not challenging ourselves enough, and we're not seeing any growth. Just a quick announcement before we return to the podcast. If you're enjoying this episode of Midweek Motivation, you may be interested in checking out the Midweek Motivation newsletter, where every week I'll share with you a useful lesson on resilience, mindset, or fitness, or health in general, straight to your inbox. You also receive a free workout of the week, useful resources, and the latest videos that I've got up there. And just if you want to keep updated on my life, you'll find everything there. If you're interested in that, go ahead and hit the link in the description below, or go to Substack and search up Midweek Motivation. All right, let's return to the podcast. For the spirit of the soul, we're not feeling connected with oneself. We see that this is the place that we want to be, but I don't have that same connection. I don't really want to go and progress through this next stage of my career. Maybe it's trying to strive for 2 million subscribers on YouTube, for example. It could be that is the kind of where we see the slips through the cracks in the body, mind, and spirit. And when they're not connected, then we feel lost or distressed or conflicted within ourselves. This calling can change over time. It's not something that you have to stick through and you're worried about that. If I do this, then what if I don't like it? You can go back to your normal life or change it all completely. It's about recognizing the fear that you have and just going for it anyway. If you feel like this gives you purpose and it gives you meaning and it gives you a bit of energy, gets you excited, then that is the place that you should be striving for. Episode 7 is with Ian Thompson, who is a film and theatre director, media designer, business owner of a massage business, and runs also a master's program at the university that I used to work and study at. We talked a lot about sustaining creativity.
As if you read something that touches your life or is relevant to your life or your personality, it's easier to be engaged with it. And it was the same with my films, you know, and the plays that I wrote, is that there was some idea that I felt was interesting to explore for myself, and also offered something to others that was interesting. Perhaps it was a new way of looking at things, but they're the things that have really sustained my creative practice. It's finding those things that really move you, that really interest you and really move you, and then explore and create around those things. That's it's pretty rewarding. Yeah, it's pretty rewarding.
For me, I am not very hands-on, artsy, or all that. Weightlifting is my creative outlook. It's how I can express how I feel, how I can create joy or value or emotions. That is how I can sort of deliver that. And what I took away from that is that continue to making podcast videos is like, I'm excited by it. Especially when I'm having guests on, or when I'm writing, like I'm just so in the zone, even though I was not great at school in creative writing or anything like that. But like when I sit down and work on my own self and just share, even if like I don't care if anyone reads it, but when I feel like that is what's driving the creativity, it's just like, you know, writing or creating content, like then I'm just gonna keep doing that. And when I feel like I'm straying away from my values, then that is where, you know, where that passion starts to, you know, soften a bit.